I'm going to be crisscross applesauce.
Or I could just, this is what I used to do. I'd always sit like the edge of a chair like this.
Well, that'll make it good if you do that. Like you just move in, like,
and
then it'll make,
then
oh,
of
shit,
course,
Paul's about to say something.
And I know you have no PTSD from Vince, but but one day he just looked at me and goes, "Why are you always in combat position?" What? You're always ready. Like you're ready to just pounce on something. I was like, yeah, no, the chair's not comfortable. Make yourself comfortable. You have to eat shit and learn to like the taste. I was like, even when I'm sitting down, I was like, this is why I'm comfortable. It looks like you're ready to fight me at all times. I was like,
well,
okay.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, it's a gimmick. Welcome to 6 Feet Under, a WWE Fanatics original production. Today, our guest, I don't know how I landed this one. If you're going to talk about Mount Rushmores, this guy's got to be on the Mount Rushmore of managers and brains in the wrestling business. The great Paul Heyman.
Woo-hoo.
Paul, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Right on the heels of SummerSlam. Wow, what well, how are you feeling after SummerSlam? I mean, it's kind of a bittersweet moment, I guess.
I'm accepting of the reality of the situation. You know, when you first break in, so many of the veterans would tell you, be accepting of it. Right. Don't fight against what the reality of the situation is. It's the same as if someone comes to you today and says, "Oh, we have this so perfectly built for you for WrestleMania." You're going to shut it down immediately because you've accepted the fact that this is what you're doing now, that is what you were doing then. And Brock has always been a realist about himself. Mm-hmm. And it's time. And to him, I would hear this every year from him. "No, this is my last contract. This is it." And he meant it when he said it. Sure. And as we got closer, he would then change his mind, or it didn't take a lot to talk him into it. But right. I knew that this was it.
Yeah.
And because he knew that this was it, right. He wasn't just saying it because he felt it at the moment. This decision was fait accompli.
Yeah. It, sitting there yesterday, as we filmed this, it was yesterday, what a full circle kind of moment. And I don't really get into a lot of the weeds of. I try not to, but the phone call that I got yesterday really meant a lot to me, and I'm not even going to get into what the phone call was about, but the fact that I received that phone call, it was just it said a lot about him, you guys together, and something he didn't have to do, but it meant the world to me as an old timer, and and it just shows. I don't think Brock really got enough credit for his passion for the business. I think most people, and everybody chirps and everybody gets on everybody has their opinion, that they don't know shit about what they're talking about. It was always, it's always about the money, or they bitched about the, or the dates and everything like that. I think he genuinely, he had to love this business, and things like that phone call yesterday just kind of reiterated to me, like, yeah, he understood, he gets it, and it's kind of sad for me because it's one less guy that's going to be around that understands tradition and the way things used to be done.
Well, he really has come full circle, because everything that he has been doing for and with Oba, you did for and with him.
Right.
And that phone call was necessary. There is a code of honor in this industry that if you are in there with someone that you can't even stand on a personal level, but you stand on the chair and you fall backwards, that person is going to catch you. Mm-hmm. That's the code of honor that we all sign up for in this industry. It's otherwise, so many more people would have their faces smashed in.
So true.
Yes.
You know, so it's that phone call was a must.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine the day going by without that phone call being placed.
Yeah. Well, it meant the world to me, and I know you were. I could see you sitting in the room, like, yeah, that's, you know.
Well, he used my phone.
Well, I know he used your phone. He tried to use. I know he used your phone, but I know that you were, you know, as a. I wouldn't necessarily call you a traditionalist, but in a sense you are. I mean, you're from the old school, and it was just like it was a very cool moment. And then you go out and, you know, they did what they did, and it was just like, wow, all right, man, that's really cool.
Do what they did on the wood.
Yeah, that part.
That's a whole different animal.
I don't know.
Jeez,
Yeah,
with no knee pads.
No knee pads. Like,
that's a total
seriously.
Brock thing to do right there.
Gosh.
I was like, gosh almighty.
Oof.
Man, I was like, yeah, I don't know. I think I'd have took the. I think I'd have done a mat. I used the mats. Of course, I got 2 metal knees now but I'm a little more sensitive to that. But I do have a. You know, I mean, it's a credible moment, and you know, we're gonna get into what's next, but. Hey, I do have a little bit of beef with you.
Uh-oh.
With me?
Yeah.
Just one?
Well, no, I got several, but one I'm going to talk about. Like, I mean, you know.
I feel like I'm Bruce Pritchard here.
No.
No, you
No.
don't.
Does he have more heat than I do?
Oh, constantly. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, then I feel much better.
Oh, yeah, you're way good. You're way good now.
Thank you.
Bruce is like just an incinerator.
I like how when we said that, how everyone here just starts muttering motherfucker about Bruce Pritchard.
Yeah, right? Everybody in back here, everybody's got their own Bruce story.
Bruce, it wasn't me.
What did he do to y'all?
It's them MFing you.
Yeah.
I heard it.
I'd come to your defense, but
Yeah, I mean, jeez. Like every interview, like Brock has been in so many big matches. Why is it? It seems like the only thing you ever talk about is how he beat me. I mean, he's the one in 21 and 1, and then, you know, and then Hell in a Cell. Like, dude's got some other stuff on his resume. Why you got to always go after me?
because it's the most impressive stat.
Wow. Yeah, but I mean, I get it, but.
He was the NCAA Division I heavyweight championship from the University of Minnesota in the year 2000. That's big.
Yeah.
He was the youngest WWE champion ever. That's big.
Yes.
He knocked out, and it was a standing knockout, he knocked out Randy Couture, the greatest heavyweight in the history of UFC, for the undisputed UFC heavyweight championship.
He did.
That's huge. He comes back to WWE. He multiple title reigns, and some of them history-making title reigns, some of them because of the longevity, they were history-making title reigns, and they're all huge. Multi-time WrestleMania main eventer, all huge accomplishments. None of them compare to being the one that conquered the Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania. It's the greatest claim to fame, and it always will be when it comes to Brock Lesnar. That's his epitaph. Brock Lesnar conquered the Undertaker's undefeated streak, former UFC and WWE heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
It's still to this day gets the biggest reaction.
Yeah.
If it didn't get a reaction,
there's always a ooh, like because you say it out loud. It's like,
like it's taboo. Like I'm not supposed to
Yeah.
brag about it. It's hey, it is the bragging right. It is the ultimate bragging right. At WrestleMania 30, if Brock had won every title in existence, WWE, Intercontinental, US, all the other titles in the industry at the same time, and he pinned every champion or tapped them all out, it would not have been as big for him as that moment.
yeah.
It's if the public wouldn't react to it, I would have.
Right. Well, yeah, you'd move on. Right?
I'd move on.
You get new material, but
But it
still
becomes a
gets,
sore spot every time I say. Obviously,
That's what I was
I'm dealing with it, but I mean, it's
but
it's a little old.
not very well.
Like I did,
It's 12 years ago, and to this day, it still gets the loudest reaction of anything that we say.
Yeah.
Sorry, babe. You can't argue with that.
I know, but
don't know.
it's still, it's like, come on, man. He's got some other stuff on the he's got some other stuff on the card. You always got to go to that. It's kind of a sore spot.
I always figured, by the way, that when I say it, that they'll run a lower third saying, and tune into Undertaker and Michelle on the 6 Feet Under podcast, presented by WWE, powered by Fanatics.
Oh, that's good.
And this is why he's so good.
And
Well
now,
done.
ladies and gentlemen, an ad read by The Undertaker.
Oh, yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, get your no, man. I just had to get that off my chest. I was just like, this guy is always talking about that. I mean, hell, trying to get that out of people's minds.
Let's talk about that day. That day was crazy. I don't know how much you've talked about this together, but you've told the story. I mean, he still literally does not remember anything past, like 3 o'clock
Yeah.
that afternoon in that match. I mean, could you, because you're so aware of everything that's going on, reactions, could you tell that he had been knocked cuckoo? Was there any point early in the match where you could tell Mark was out of it?
I thought it was on the outside with the pine.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that looked like, ooh, that was a rough landing.
Yeah.
And from there, and I'm sure you've watched it back.
Yeah.
From there, it looked to me like, okay, we started to try to hold it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Meaning you and me, you
I
and
think,
Brock.
yeah, no, I think that's somewhere where it happened. But when I watch it, it's like, that's not that, I mean, I've taken far worse bumps and popped up. I think kind of what happened is it's late. It's getting late in my career, and at that point, I'm only working a couple of times a year, and I think it's Father Time catching up with me. You just, when your body's not used to that trauma, you don't take it as well.
Right.
And Brock was physical, but Brock was very safe, right? I mean, you knew you were going to get thrown around. There wasn't a lot of guys that threw me around. He was physically able to do it. It was all safe, but it was just, I just think like, I think between being on the floor and I guess that's the only thing I can figure.
Well, it's also the number of dings that you've taken over the years. Ronda Rousey was fascinating in this discussion. We were on a plane at one point, and out of nowhere, she just turned to me and said, "Did I ever tell you what really happened between me and Holly Holm?" And I had never brought that subject up. Mm-hmm. And I know, and she started talking about how when she was a kid, I think it was that she fell down the stairs or something along the lines, an accident happened, and it knocked her out cold. And because of that, she was always vulnerable to that, to getting clipped in that, just on the right spot. And she took the clip. In the first round, she was out. But on her feet, because that was her training. Just fight it through, ignore it, let's just go. And everything was on muscle memory. There comes a time that when you've taken so many hits, that it's not that nuclear hit that wipes you out. It's just
all the little ones.
It's just on the right spot at the right moment.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you thought when you watched it back, right? Because you thought it was just like a shot at the beginning when he was on you. You thought maybe.
Yeah, there's nothing that stands out like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's some impact here, but
You were out though.
I was,
You
I
were
was out.
cuckoo until about 4 a.m. in the hospital.
Yeah.
That match, though, proved a lot of things about old school philosophy in the industry. In that, if you watch the match back, with a discerning eye, you can tell, okay, they're trying to hold this together. Something's about to go wrong or is kind of going wrong, and they're keeping it on the track, but it's teetering. Mm-hmm. And no one remembers the match.
Yeah.
Including without a joke,
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
No one remembers the match. They remember the finish.
Yeah.
They remember the crowd reaction. To me, the moment was when the scoreboard changed.
Yeah.
And the audience knew at that moment, oh my God, this is really happening.
Yeah.
And then you feel the rumble in the crowd, like, oh my God, this is really, we're witnessing something that we thought we'd never get to witness.
Yeah.
And that tells a lot about our industry in that it's not about everything, it's about the moment. That people remember the finish, that people remember the moment, that people remember the emotion. They don't have to really remember the match itself.
Right.
That if this is what you're building towards, if that moment is what you're building towards, and you deliver it, that's the memory.
Yeah.
That's what people take home with them.
Yeah.
12 years later, it's still a sore spot because of that, not with people saying, well, during the match, I was kind of expecting this. And
Yeah.
it's still as much as Hogan and Andre from WrestleMania 3 is the WrestleMania moment of the early days, or Steve Austin and Mike Tyson being the Attitude Era's moment, to me, this generation, that's the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why he still brings it up.
Full circle. Again,
You're welcome.
another full circle moment. It's fun. It's fun talking to people. We're the same age, right? We're not
1965.
Yeah, 1965. You're still incredibly passionate. Like when you talk about wrestling, when you talk about this, you can feel, you get excited. Your eyes light up. How do you maintain your passion for the business, and then obviously with all of the changes in the business, how do you stay so connected?
I love it. I still love it. It's such a. This is going to be a word that will be taken out of context all over the internet, but it's just this perverse art form. It really is.
But that's true.
It is. It's such an entity unto itself. It's look at how hard, from Vince to Booker to The Rock to Austin, people would try to make you come out of character in the ring, in public, even when the cameras were off. And this is way before, the days of everyone has, video on their phone. And some did, but it wasn't prevalent.
Right.
And yet, that was the big thing for them to do after the show. Oh, let's get Mark to come out of character.
Yes.
Just to show one moment of this Mark in that skin was the holy grail for everybody. Why? Because I have deep respect for what Paul Giamatti does. I have deep respect for what Christian Bale does, or Tom Hardy, or any of these great performers or actors, or Meryl Streep, et cetera, et cetera. And if they have a theater background where they go to Broadway and they play in front of 300 to 500 people, hopefully a packed house on Broadway, we do these scenes that are supposed to be based on evoking emotion out of an audience in front of 10, 15, 20, 25, 50,000 people live. What a challenge. Yeah. Well, it goes back to me to Laurence Olivier doing Shakespeare in the Park in London, where he would do Hamlet on a Saturday and King Lear on a Sunday, and never screw up the lines. And this is in a park in London where if he did screw up, it would be headline news in London. We do it on a global basis on worldwide television with probably the greatest distribution of any television show on the planet right now. And we don't blink about it. We all look forward to that challenge. That's an art form.
Yes.
And I think the greatest thing that ever happened to me is that I was born the single most unathletic human being that's ever been involved in this industry. I have no hips, flat feet, I'm splay-footed, and I'm Jewish and don't like to schlep. So I'm the last person that you want in a physical confrontation. And because of that, my admiration, I'm sure you I'm sure I told you this when we were in the car together in 1990, by the way.
Yes.
1990.
I was going to get there.
90. But, you know, the first bump I ever took, I mean, like when I was a kid, when I was a photographer, every now and then, like especially in White Plains, because Skolin would put people up to it. You know, Don Morocco or Greg Valentine or Randy Orton's father would you know say, "Hey kid, come here for a second, get in the ring," and just literally just you know like just amateur wrestling
Stretch
shit.
you.
Yeah, but kinda never anything. Also, because Offensica would keep an eye on me, you know, and they're like,
That's nice.
"Don't hurt the kid. We need the kid," you know, because I had to drive. You know? So,
You had a purpose.
so yes,
You had a
and
purpose.
thank God I did. You know,
Yes.
so, but first real bump I ever took was from Bam Bam Bigelow, and I went down because I was breaking in as a manager, and I still hate that term to this day. And I went down to Larry Sharp's Monster Factory, and he said, "Okay, you're gonna have to learn this one. This is called the hard way. This is when you know the manager stands on the apron, you hold the top rope, they push out the rope, they pull you in."
Yeah.
And he pulled me in, and I went up, and I went straight down on my forehead, bam, and knocked myself out. Just like bam, like a lawn dart. Big Show used to always call me the lawn dart, because I'd
lawn
always
dart.
end up landing on my forehead, no matter what you did with me. And I was like, oh my God, okay. So I was like, well, this is a dangerous business. So the second bump I ever took was my first match as a manager. And I was with a team called the Motor City Madmen. Oh, you remember the Motor City Madmen?
yeah.
The Motor City Madmen. And we were working against Afa and his nephew, who was just breaking in, Kokina
Coquina.
Rodney,
Yoke.
Yeah.
Yokozuna.
Yoke.
And I mean, literally just breaking in. And Alpha says, "Son, you want to take a bump tonight?" "Yes, Pops. Happy to take a bump." "Okay, after the match you come, we run, you come at us, backdrop. Take a backdrop?" "Yes, Pops. Best backdrop in the business." No idea what I'm doing. No training, nothing. "Okay, son, don't boost. Don't boost, son." "Oh, no, Pops, I won't boost. Of course, I want to impress everybody. I'm going to take the greatest backdrop in, you know, the old Ken Wayne backdrop, you know."
Oh, wow.
So here we go. Run in, here we go. I boost, my feet hit the top rope, bam, right down the back of my head. Knocked myself out. So first two bumps I ever took in this business, I learned what a dangerous business this is.
Right.
And there are people going out there doing this 100, 150 times in a match every night, multiple nights a week, traveling down the road, problems at home, the dog is sick, the kid screwed up at school. It is, oh my God. And then to concentrate on your own health inside the ring. And to be able to do that, and on any one of those two bumps, I could have broken my neck. And you look at, this is a game of micro inches. Look at what happened to Draws.
Yeah.
And my respect and appreciation for those that do it and do it well, or at least do it safely for them and the person who's entrusting you with their health. I still marvel at it to this day. I still watch it with just respect and envy, because I can't do that. And I have such respect for those that do. Because all I got to do is say my name
Well, let's don't
and my guy's name, sell
let's don't
something,
undersell.
and remind people that my client Brock Lesnar conquered the Undertaker's undefeated streak in WrestleMania.
Yes. Yes. You do that well, by the way.
Thank you.
No, you don't undersell. No, there is there's an art. You know, all of it works together, and your association with whoever you're representing. You just said a minute ago you don't like the term manager.
No.
I mean, it's kind of old school, I guess, right? I mean,
It just, when I broke in 1987, I was told by everybody, be a commentator. Why? Oh, because a manager is a dead role. Everyone told me this. J.J. Dillon told it to me. Jim Cornette told me. And literally, I mean,
he was still in the middle of his run.
He was still in the middle of his run, but he was saying, hey, you know, especially when we were pitted against each other, Cornette just said, you know, this is a dying role. It was the same thing. Dusty told me it was a dying role. I got a call from Vince when I went to no, actually, first time he called me was when he saw me on ESPN when I was working for Vern. And he said, "Oh, God damn it, what are you doing?" And I go, "Oh, I'm working for Vern now, you know." And I started with the phone gimmick. And he says, "Oh, well, you got to transition over to being a commentator or something, or because you know that manager, it's a dying role. You know, it's going to be beautiful women to accompany the men to the ring, and you know, one or two very, very old timers. You know, like when, and what was the example that he gave? Like when Strangler Lewis was managing Lou Thez, which if you to hear that history from him was amazing, but it shook me because I was like, oh my God, is it a dying role? Jim Ross would tell me he also wanted me to become his commentator,
Right.
but everybody told me it was a dying role. So my goal early on was to change that role, was to evolve it into something else. You know, wrestlers weren't wrestlers, they were superstars.
Right.
Elevate the role, do something different with it so I don't get compared to anybody else. So I can find my own niche in the business to where I can say I'm the best that's ever done that. Okay, well, Bobby Heenan was great at that, and Jimmy Hart was great at that, and J.J. Dillon and Lou Albano and Freddie Blassie and the Grand Wizard, they were great at that, but I mastered this. This is my role. And it's inspired by them, but it's not the same. So when I came back to being a manager, which was in the Dangerous Alliance, I asked to be the CEO of the Dangerous Alliance so that I wasn't labeled a manager, because I always figured, wow, that's the past. Let's not call it a manager, because I'm just reminding people of a role that no longer exists.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you've always, I remember you mentioned it a minute ago, like we were riding up down the roads in 1990. But even back then, and you were my manager, Mean Mark. But you did. Yeah, I always remember because obviously I was. We were both young then, but like I think you were obviously further along. You'd been in the business a few years longer than I had, so you had obviously a lot more experience. But I remember the little things that you used to take care of, like. So it's kind of. You almost take the approach as it's a shoot. Like you make things a lot easier on your guys. Like whoever you're with, there's the TV aspect, but you kind of go far beyond.
Yeah.
I feel like that. Like I've heard that you basically remove all real world distractions from whoever you're working with, which is so amazing.
Thank you. It's about, and thank you for remembering that. No one's going to pay to hear me say, "Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman," or back then, "My name is Paul E. Dangerously." Does it help? Yes. Does it enhance? Yes. Does it take it across the finish line? I sure hope so. But no one's going to pay to hear that or to witness it, especially back then.
Yeah.
I mean, now, last time you ever get to see him, maybe we'll fill up a bingo hall again. But besides that, it ain't going to happen. We survive as an act on your ability to perform. So if my designation in our act is to just talk, okay, great. And I'm just a performer. And we don't have to gel, and we don't have to like each other, and we don't have to really give a shit. But if we look at each other and we say, we're pretty good together.
Right.
There's some money here. There is a camaraderie that works behind the scenes, and there's a flow that works on the camera. And I can tell what you're going to do before you do it, because I'm in sync with your rhythm. Mm-hmm. And your understanding of the business. And that comes from being in the car and listening. Should I throw 3 punches? Should I throw 5? Should I throw 5? Should I throw 3? And once we understand that together, my job is to make your performance the best that it can be. And if you walk into an arena and you go, man, I'm really hungry. Is there any food that I can get? How can I get food? Now you're not thinking about your match. Hey, why are there no towels in my locker room? If I just had towels, I could take a shower, I could think about the match. My job is to make sure that you only think about the performance tonight.
Wow.
That's it. Let's go for greatness. Let's do something that other people are not competitive enough to do. Let's seek that, excuse the term, spiritually orgasmic moment that we walk away going, that was great. And no one else can do what we just did out there tonight. They can do their own thing. They can do something different. Maybe they do things that are better, but they can't duplicate what we did. We offered something special, and we can be proud of our work tonight and overall of our body of work. If I don't take that position seriously, then I have the ability to take your chicken and rice will be here at 3:30 as you like it. Your towels are there so you can take a shower. There is the right shampoo. Hey, I made sure you have a toothbrush and toothpaste in the locker room. Don't worry about the rent-a-car. I got the rent-a-car. All you got, if you need this much sleep, don't worry about the rent-a-car. I'll get in before you. I'll pick you up when you land. And you like that kind of hotel? I'll book it for us. All you got to think about is being great.
Right.
And if it's with the right person, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, you, Steve Austin, if it's with the right, Rick Rude, if it's with the right person,
Game over. Yeah.
There's no telling the greatness that can be achieved. And people can come at you in your life from multiple directions and say anything that they want about you. They can nitpick you to death. You know what they can't take away? The body of work that you put together that screams out greatness. They can't take that away from you. That's yours. You own that. You earned that. You worked your ass off, the sacrifices you made to achieve that. If I can take something off your plate the day of a show, and back then we were doing 5, 6, 7 shows a week.
Sure, yeah.
But if I can take something off your plate so you can achieve that, look at the ride I'm on with you.
Yeah.
Is that where you learned that from?
What's that?
Doing all that stuff for me all the time.
Wow.
Taking
Really?
everything.
Wow. That's what I got to work with. And I can't say much.
Oh, no. What I would have did.
I love being in the middle here.
It's such a great spot.
That's great
Dr.
advice.
Heyman, family therapist. So, hello, darlings. Welcome to the show. Today I have Mark and Michelle, both start with an M. We should look into this.
Oh, boy. We just come off the rails. Here we go.
Are you ready to hold WWE history in the palm of your hand? Topps is bringing you closer to the action than ever before with WWE Topps Now. Highlighting the biggest matches and milestones from WWE shows and PLEs throughout the year. Topps Now is enhancing the fan experience by connecting collectors to superstars and spectacles that ignite their passion. Featuring stunning, event-exclusive photography, each card is made for the moment. And for some lucky collectors, the moment could be the pull of a lifetime. Along with serial numbered parallels, some Topps Now releases offer a chance at rare short prints, superstar autographs, and even pieces of the mat, gear, or other items used during the featured match. So which moments will you collect? With each card only available for a limited time, you won't want to wait to begin your Topps Now journey. Be sure to subscribe to WWE Topps Now mailing list on Topps.com and follow Topps on all social media platforms so you never miss a single moment.
Do you, I mean, your reputation and your legacy within the business, do you seek out, like, obviously, you've got to refill the stable now. Do you seek out, or do you, does Paul come to you and say, hey, what do you think? how do you fill the void that a Brock Lesnar leaves now?
I don't know if that's a void that can never be filled. I think now it's the art of reinvention again. You know,
Right.
it's when in 2020 when COVID hit and the decision was made corporately, we are going to produce live television or live to tape television twice a week, Raw and SmackDown. Here we go, and we're still going to do what was then called pay-per-views, now premium live events. And Brock's contract wrapped up just as the whole world shut down, and Vince made the business decision, we got to take a break for a while. I'm not going to just have Brock Lesnar wrestle in this cavernous atmosphere that ended up having a digital component, but we knew we were down for at least a year, and who knows?
Right.
We didn't know when the world was going to come out of this. And the opportunity arose at that time that Roman had taken so much time off.
Right.
And the decision was made for us to finally work together. And when I asked Vince his vision for it, he just said, "He's the big dog and you're his advocate." And the first thing I said was, he can't be the big dog anymore. We've run with the big dog since 2012. He needs to evolve into something completely different, and I can't be his advocate. I was Brock Lesnar's advocate. I must be something different to this character. And the examples that I continuously gave were, and this is what sold Vince on it, was the dead man, the American badass. It has to be that shocking of a metamorphosis, and it has to make sense.
Sure.
The dead man grew into the American badass because times had changed around him. The 90s had evolved, and the audience wanted more out of the dead man, to where the dead man returned as the American badass. And even though that's a seismic shift in character, you never alienated the dead man, you incorporated him into an evolved character. It's the same thing. It's a progression. It's a metamorphosis. It's a, here's what I have on my resume, and here's where I've been, and now here's where I'd like to take you next. And I need to wear a different suit. I need to wear different colors. I need to have a different scheme of things, because that worked with Brock. But what worked with Brock did not work with Roman.
Right, yeah.
And what worked with Roman did not work with CM Punk. And what worked with CM Punk did not work with you or with Steve or with Rob Van Dam or anybody else that I've worked with. Everyone's an individual, and we need to create and act like a marriage, like a professional marriage, that I'm here to, if I understand my role right, I'm the supporting player. And I take great pride in that. A great supporting player makes the main character, and makes the main character in such a degree that the main character could not pull that off on their own, male or female. Robert Duvall in the Godfather movies. The greatest supporting actor I've ever seen.
Amazing, yeah.
And made those movies. And this is what we're talking about. Look at the cast. Brando, De Niro, Pacino. And yet, Robert Duvall was the glue and made everyone else around him look better.
Yeah.
And that's the role. So I don't know the next step, because I have to look at the landscape.
Sure.
And see, ooh, let's invest our time here. Let's buy into this stock and grow it and watch it rise to the top.
Are you taking applications? Because I would have given anything to work under your tutelage. I mean, my goodness.
Well, thank you. He'll tell you it's not all it's cracked up to be.
No, well, there's good and there's bad. Yeah.
Mostly bad.
No. It's
Not as
mostly,
much bad as Bruce Pritchard.
Right, we established that.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic, but no.
This is kind of off topic, but I love Jalen Brunson. Love him to death. Think he's an incredible player, but I don't know that he's earned the King of New York title. And I told Mark, honestly, I think you
She did
should
hit
be
me
in the
with
running
this.
for that. Like, I
She
mean,
hit
does
me
that
with
make
this on the way
you? Does
over
that make
here.
you a little hot? Because I mean, I don't know. I think you've
I think
earned.
it was a
I think
compliment.
you've.
That was a compliment.
I
She
think
thinks you're the
you've-
king of New York.
I do. I think you're. Yeah, I think you're up there.
Well, I am the king of New York.
See, exactly. I knew it. I knew it. See.
And
There it went.
and when the and when the guard for the New York Knicks in their initial babyface run in this decade steals my moniker,
Thank you.
at least he's stealing from the best.
This is true. I mean, I wasn't going to say. I was straight up hot about it, honestly. So
She's trying to stir up some stuff, is what she's
I'm
trying
not trying to
do.
stir up anything. I think it's true.
No. She's definitely Team Heyman on that. But
I am.
I think she's trying to stir up some, a little controversy here.
I would never do
I mean,
that.
he's on a pretty good run right now.
He is. Well, they have great writers.
Wait,
They do. They do.
That's what I've heard.
They get to win the title, but not in the Garden, so that next year when they make it to the finals, then those Garden tickets can be even higher.
Hey.
Because you can see them win. They still haven't won it at Madison Square Garden. They mopped the floor with San Antonio.
Spurs, yeah.
Glad I got that one right. They mopped the floor. With
I had a king in
oh,
you.
wait. Oh, okay. There you go,
Yeah,
San
yeah.
Antonio. Oh,
Yeah.
my compliments. It was a hell of a season. They mopped the floor with San Antonio, and then all of a sudden they get to the Garden, and the heels inch out of victory. The guy at the free throw line who had a 100% average or near 100% average in free throws, all of a sudden he misses at the most critical point, and not only in the series, but in his entire career. I mean, my God. Their creative team is on. My compliments, NBA. Your writing team is stellar. What a booking committee they got.
And this is why he's king,
wrestling cynic right here. That screams. True promoter. True promoter, man. When you took over ECW, what was it?
It was Eastern Championship Wrestling.
Eastern Championship Wrestling. So, it's talking about a metamorphosis. You go into, Extreme Championship Wrestling. Did you think that's where the business? Obviously, that's where you thought the business needed to go. But did you have that vision for a while, or you just kind of adapted with the times as you started rebranding that?
Kind of both. I thought in 91, 92 that the business was evolving to the point where it needed to be more visceral. It needed to be more 18 to 34 male demographic. It had gotten to kiddie friendly and had lost a core audience. And in chasing the action figures and the Halloween costumes and huge market, but it alienated that 18 to 34 male demographic. It wasn't cool. It wasn't on the cutting edge. It had become very conservative of an industry.
Yeah.
And this is not a conservative art form.
Yeah.
It's a very liberal art form. I'm not talking politically.
Yeah.
I'm talking just in terms of it's progressive. It is young, but not that young. And it always has to move forward, and it always really needs to be mindful of the pop culture that's out there. Mm-hmm. The culture had become, even more so than in 1985, when WWE did the MTV relationship with Cyndi Lauper and Hulk Hogan and Mr. T and Roddy Piper, it had become very MTV oriented, and not just the network MTV, but the entire concept of that style television. It had become trash TV. Everything was going extreme, and no one really picked that up as a buzzword yet. And then that wasn't my original intent of the name of the company when I first took over the creative end of it. I just knew I had to get out of the word Eastern. It was too limited.
Yeah.
It was narrow casting,
Yeah.
and I wanted to broadcast.
Yes.
But if hip hop was right on the precipice of breaking through, and back then it was only on Yo MTV Raps, unless Run DMC would do something with Aerosmith.
Sure.
Because Aerosmith, we endorse these hip hop guys, and well, come on, fellas, we'll make you stars.
Right.
MC Lyte was just the hottest female rapper in the world at the time. Roughneck could not get played on MTV except on Yo MTV Rap. Onyx was just on fire. Wu-Tang Clan was coming out of the gates. NWA, Haru the Jamaja. You just look at all the different hip hop artists that were just breaking through in that community, but could not get any kind of mainstream cultural pickup. But they were going to, and the entire landscape of what the youth were watching was changing. Those dance shows on MTV were damn near pornographic.
Yeah.
All they did was, crotch shots and upskirts, and this at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you turn on MTV, and it's like, whoa, this is this even appropriate to watch? So I could tell the culture was shifting. And also, I was limited in the quality of workmanship I was going to be able to lure into ECW, because that type of classic, okay, here's an arm, but we're going to work the arm, going to work the arm, going to work the arm, going to work the arm. Okay, going to get a submission on the arm. The old workmanship, those guys were all signed, or they were signed to Japan. So I had to make something with smoke and mirrors.
Right.
And I don't want to say chicken salad out of chicken shit, because what the guys did was very impressive in the opportunity that they were given. But I had to build characters that were not like the ones that you were going to see in WWE or WCW, and I could never match the production budget, so I had to give something that felt illegal.
Right.
And in doing so, and in using the music, and in giving these down to street level but still larger than life characters, we found an audience that would say, that's cool.
Right.
Hey, I understand that. Hey, that speaks to me. Hey, that's my generation. And therefore, the disruption of the industry itself was also born out of just the fact that we needed to find something that would let us survive, based on the fact that the others couldn't do it, or were unwilling to do it, or it was not politically correct to do it, or sponsors and advertisers would never be on board with it.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, it's a major revolution within our industry. It was so out of the box. It was, kind of going through it. You're like, when you're in a company or in a different company, and you're like, man, what the hell are these guys doing? Right. This is not what we do.
Right.
And actually, it ended up being sheer brilliance, because it did. It gave the alienated a place to feel. Yeah, this is my wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah, this is where I'm at.
And I say this with deep respect for what we did. It's a gang or a cult mentality. This is my family. These people accept me. I'm accepted here.
Right.
How I envision pro wrestling to be is accepted here. It's celebrated here. Oh, these are my people. The Sandman is my guy. Raven is my guy. Rob Van Dam is my guy. Taz is my guy. The Public Enemy, the Dudley Boys. These are my guys. I identify with them. They identify with me. The first time I put Public Enemy on the air, I had Ted Petty, Rocco Rock, say, "We are the first generation of American children more afraid of living than dying," which I stole from Newsweek magazine. Because there was an essay in Newsweek, and that was the line. And I was like, that's brilliant. We have to use that. And I wanted a hoodie tag team. And Teddy was 41 years old. And Johnny was a Cajun from Lake Charles, Louisiana. We're building him out of South Central LA.
Right.
And here's Johnny Grunge talking like this. And yet people bought into it because, number one, they didn't know who these two guys were, because Teddy had always worked under a mask. And Johnny had never been seen before because he didn't really wrestle on that many independents in the North. So when we busted them out that way and we gave them lines like that people identifying with, again, this was also the emergence of grunge.
Right.
So this was the disenfranchised, hot, 17, 18, 19 and beyond. So, that age group especially was looking for an identity. And while in music, they found it through Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and Radiohead and Stone Temple Pilots, in wrestling, they found it through us.
Right.
Because we were the home for those who were not welcome elsewhere.
Was there ever any talk of you going to ECW to work with anybody?
Not maybe at one, not until maybe the invade. I don't know.
Towards the end.
Towards the end,
where we just would have been a guest appearance, but Vince wasn't letting you out of his sight.
No, he kept pretty tight reins.
And he certainly didn't want me in your ear.
No.
When we did the Monday Night Raw thing in 1997 to promote our first pay-per-view, that was the first thing I noticed, that there was always someone just watching everybody I was talking to.
Yeah, I get that now.
I think you said that yesterday.
I got it all day yesterday while I was at the
Literally
arena.
said
People, why is he talking to talent?
Literally. That's so funny.
There are options. But it's funny. There was ribbing on the square a lot yesterday, but everybody would get a little closer to see what I was saying to different talent. I was like, we're all under the same umbrella here. This is a family. This is a family deal here.
My father used to say, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean the whole world's not against you.
Wait,
yeah.
I like that.
That's good.
And in this industry, sometimes it's an accurate state of mind.
Boy, is it.
1,000%.
Are you kidding me?
On this show, we talk a lot about the grind, the history, and what it took to build a legacy in this business. Guys like Austin, Rock, Cena, and obviously the women who completely revolutionized the division.
Oh, thanks, babe. Nice of you to notice. But you're right. The history of WWE is unmatched. And for the fans who lived through those eras with us, that nostalgia is incredibly powerful.
It really is. And if you want to represent that history, WWE Shop and Fanatics have the ultimate collection of official WWE Legends merchandise.
And they really do. They have everything from classic graphic tees and hoodies to retro jackets and title belts. And honestly, the women's fits and styles they have now, they're amazing. I went on Fanatics the other day and the selection's massive. You can find gear for all the greats, including, of course, The Undertaker.
Grab your Legends gear at WWE Shop and Fanatics today.
So we discussed, we talked about your role as far as an on-screen talent. You've kind of got I don't know, is it an unspoken role, I guess?
Unspecified
Unspecified, consulary.
Freelance, yeah.
You mentioned Robert Duvall and The Godfather the other minute. It sparked you've been referred to as Paul's consulary now?
Well, that's what that's how he described it.
He said that in his speech.
He put it, they came to me on the Hall of Fame, and I'm sure they asked you the same thing. What you want on the ring,
right?
And I whatever you want to put on the ring, surprise me. I don't know.
Right.
I'm kind of uncomfortable. Well, put this on. Put GOAT. Good looking. And you deserve a raise. So I just said whatever Paul wants. Mm-hmm. I never talked about it publicly till he did it his own Hall of Fame induction. Yeah, but he put the word consigliere on it. which really moved me when I saw it. It caught me off guard. It's, you know, the old expression, I serve at the pleasure of the chairman, I serve at the pleasure of the president. I serve at the pleasure of the chief content officer. So if he sees somebody and he says, they got to break through on their promos. They're in their own way. They're in their own head. Hey, they're an A, but they need to be an A+++. Hey, they're a C, they need to be an A. Whatever it is, you know, find it in them. Help pull it out of them.
Yeah.
That becomes my assignment. Now, sometimes that's a one-day process. Sometimes that becomes a life mission. It all depends on the talent. It all depends on their openness to reach inside and pull it out of themselves, how much they like working with me, if they do at all. And sometimes it's just a quick thing. Help this person through this promo today. And sometimes it's make that your project. Okay.
Right.
And I love working with really, really talented people that want to go that next step, that want to take it even further. It's like the old thing about Michael Jordan showing up at 5 o'clock for a 7 o'clock practice. Why? Because there's other people that want to become Michael Jordan.
Yep.
And he ain't going to let them.
Yep.
So if someone's willing to put in that extra time, when Roman and I first got put together, we would talk on the phone, and at times I just out of the blue in the middle of a conversation talking about, you know, just how does your lawn look today? You know, just completely off topic. I'd say, what'd you have for breakfast today? Oh, you know, this many eggs and, you know, a bowl of oatmeal, whatever. Great. What did the tribal chief have? And I'd want him to talk to me as the tribal chief. And not just for, you know, a promo, like for 5 minutes. Talk to me for a while. Spend a half hour on the phone with me as the tribal chief. Do small talk with me as the tribal chief. Did the tribal chief take his kids to school today? Did the tribal chief pick his kids up from school today? What was that conversation like? So that just he learns how to walk in the skin of that character so much that he's just as comfortable being the tribal chief Roman Reigns as he is being Joe Anoa'i.
Yeah.
And once you have that comfort level of understanding who that person is, then you can switch it on and hopefully afterwards switch it off, but that you could switch it on in your pursuit of greatness because you truly understand who that character is. Yeah. If you walk and go, oh, I wouldn't say that, you know, I don't know. Okay, well, why wouldn't you say it? What would you say? What would your character say? How would your character approach it? What's the new layer of your character that we can reveal because this is a new situation for the character to be in? And those are the things that I look for when I work with a talent. So if you give me a Royce Keys, for example, who, despite the fact that he's been in the business for 15, 20 years, has no idea how truly talented he truly is.
Right, yeah.
Or you give me a Javon Evans, or you give me Jade Cargill, or even Charlotte Flair, who's been in the business since birth.
Right.
And you look at it from a different perspective, and you force that person to look at it from a different perspective. It opens up a whole new light for them in their pursuit of something that goes back to walking away with that spiritually orgasmic feeling of, I did something great, I did something special. So, long answer to your short question, and forgive me for that, please, and thank you, is I'm here to help in whatever assists the cause of the promotion to move forward.
Yeah. I you know, as you were talking, and I was thinking of Roman, like he, you know, people will always come to me, man, you live the character, you live the gimmick. He truly, anytime that I see him, I had a moment with him at Fanatics Fest. We ran into each other, real brief, real quick, but he conducts himself at all times as the tribal chief now.
Yes.
You know, and I don't think people understand it, and that's what makes it so good, because it comes off now. It's so amazingly genuine that he thinks he is, in which he is, I guess. But it's funny when you started talking about the conversation. Talk to me. How did you take the tribal chief take his kids today? And it's obviously paid off, because you know I saw him do an interview. I don't remember who it was that was interviewing him, but you know, he was just basically he was like, yeah, you know, I am this guy, and it was just like, wow, that's living your character.
Yeah,
that's living, which not many people do. That's living your character in 2026.
yes,
It's the same thing that I did. It's exactly the same thing. It's a different presentation, obviously.
yeah.
But he's doing it in an incredible way, and it's just funny. You know, it dawned on me as I was watching this interview, and then listening to you just then. It's just like it all makes perfect sense, and that's so, you know, well done. I mean, it really is to be able to prompt people to do things like that, and
It's close to home for him, though.
yeah,
It's super close. He is the head of his table. He is the tribal chief of that family. He legitimately is, and there always was. There, you know, for a while it was Alpha and Sika together,
right.
and Alpha would handle the business, and Sika was the muscle, and then Rodney stepped up.
Rodney, yeah.
You know, and for a while it was Junior. Mm-hmm. Junior was the undisputed head of that family for a long time, and it was time for Joe. You know, and you know this, the head of that family takes care of a lot of people in that family.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people dependent on the head of that family, and that's Joe. And so the tribal chief was something that we came up with because he was, and he is. And to me, that was very easy to fall into as his, at first, special counsel, and then he named me the wise man. But it was very easy to fall into that because I looked at him like he was my tribal chief, because he conducted himself like a tribal chief.
Yeah.
He aspired not only to live the character, but he admired the character and the traits of that character and the benefits that that character brought himself, his wife, his children, and the rest of his family, to the point where Joe Anawai looked at Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, and said, I need to be more like that, like him. That guy is worthy of admiration and worthy of the respect that I want bestowed upon me. And he conducts himself like that.
Yeah.
He is the tribal chief.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. You see things and you see every day, but you like sometimes I get disconnected, and then I have a moment, and it was strange. It was a podcast or an interview he was doing at Fanatics, and it really hit me like, wow, you know, he's doing what you did, in a way, in a time where it's incredibly hard. I don't know if it's incredibly hard. It's just it takes an incredible amount of dedication.
Yes.
I would say it's hard too, but it's hard because probably something y'all both agree on is that so much is given away. So many phones and so many.
I think that's okay.
You know?
That's exactly my point where I was going, in an era where people are only these things on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, that was kind of my. I mean, obviously it was a Fanatics interview, but he was still where most other people that were there are their alter egos, or are not their alter egos. They're being themselves.
Yeah.
He was being the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, and it jumped out to me like, dude, it gave me a whole nother respect for him.
Yeah.
Because it dawned, like I said, it dawned on me like, dude, that's old school being applied in 2026 in the new school. It's funny because sometimes I do get a little disconnected from, I have to at this point, but it was fun for me. It felt good. It felt good when it hit me. I was like, okay. I see what you're doing there.
Yeah, well, he's rooted in the fundamentals
Yeah.
of the industry. And of course, he was raised that way.
Yeah.
So he has deep respect for it. New school doesn't mean shit on the old school. New school means here's just an example, okay? And I use this with young talent all the time. When I was a kid, I'm talking about when I was 15 years old in the Garden locker room, the old timers, you know, the Bob Backlunds, the Arnold Skolins, the Gorilla Monsoons, the Angelo Moscas, you know, the Don Moroccos and Greg Valentines and Bob Ortons and Albano and Blassie and the Grand Wizard. They all had an interesting philosophy when it came to baby faces and heels. The heel settles into the heat, so the baby face can blow the comeback. So the heel stops the movement, because movement is exciting, and people will cheer the movement. And if you demonstrate the hero, the baby face, the protagonist is moving and it's exciting and it's fun to watch. And they look at, oh man, that's a cool move. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh my God, I'm really into this guy. And then the heel takes it away from you, holds him down, and gets the trapezius lock or whatever, with the ice pick.
Ice pick.
Ice pick.
Yeah.
Remember Heidenreich with the ice pick?
I do.
Heidenreich we're going off on a real tangent here. Heidenreich would grab an ice pick, and he hated doing the ice pick. He hated it. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, Arn Anderson would tell him, "Hey, you got to do the ice pick, kid." Mm. And why? Why do I need to do the ice pick? And Arn Anderson said, because it cuts off the carotid artery. So he would grab somebody in the ice pick and go, "I got him in the ice pick. It cuts off the carotid artery." And he's yelling it to the crowd, like, "It's cutting off the carotid artery. I got him on the ice pick." And like, oh my God.
Do you know he was in my first match ever?
Oh my God.
A tag match with Don Marie and him and myself and Big Show. Yeah.
Damn it, Paul.
But that was the thing. You settle into the heat. Oh. So the heel, the villain, the antagonist stops the excitement, ruins your good time, gives you the match that you didn't want to see, and holds down my hero. He settles into the heat, so that then when the babyface starts to come up and the crowd's going, yeah, come on, give me some movement here. This is boring as shit, right? And the babyface comes up and the crowd is with it, and he tells the crowd, "I hear you. Okay, give me more. And they're giving him more. And he comes up for that movement. He blows his comeback. That still applies today.
Right.
That's old school. Start a match, throw a punch, break your hand. Have to keep the hand tight for the entire match. Here we go. The opponent is working on you. You're coming back with kicks and left jabs and everything to protect the right hand. Yeah. And there in the finish of the match, you finally have the opponent dead to rights. You forget that one moment. You come off the ropes. Bam! Oh, God, my hand. Boom. They grab you in a wrist lock, or because you backed up from your own punch, they take you down and score a 1, 2, 3. Old school philosophy. Just tell it in a new light. Tell that story something different. Don't use the ice pick to hold somebody down. Use something new. Use something out of UFC.
Yeah.
Use something that hasn't been, that evolves, that elevates, that upgrades, that is inspired by the past, but now brings it forward.
New twist.
And so if you come in with just all new ideas and have no knowledge of the old school, you won't make it on top.
No.
There's no way. You might have a flash on top,
right?
Because you're so different, because you're so out of whack. But the fundamentals of the emotion that is generated by this industry remains the same. The manner in which we tell the story changes.
Yes. Yeah, it changes with the times, obviously. But it's, you're right. Everything's rooted in, it's also in storytelling and how you tell it. Yeah. I think I'm going to ask us, because we're kind of on the same page with this. We give too much up today.
Oh, yes, even here right now.
Yeah. No, I do, and I appreciate it. But these guys will tell you, my crew, like I struggle to do interviews anymore because I don't like to discuss out of pocket. I just too old school to do it. I fall in the same deal. Like you can't talk without giving some of it up. And it's one thing, I think, to be talking about older things, but I think we give things up nowadays that are just, the curtain has just been not only opened, pulled down. I think it makes our product so much harder to deliver. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. When this airs, I will kick myself for saying the words babyface and heel.
Yeah.
I'll hate it. And it's the same thing. It's the old thing. The train is leaving the station.
Yeah.
Now, that train is leaving with or without you. It's going.
Yep.
And either you're on that train or you're not. And if you're not, everybody else on that train is going to the next WrestleMania, the WrestleMania after that, the WrestleMania after that. But you're not, because you're not on the train.
So true.
And I don't want to just be a passenger on these trains. I want to be one of the conductors. I want to be one of the people that's on the staff that makes that train go. So I have to be on the train. And all of this, unreal podcast, open discussion of the art form in our business is part of the modern communication that we offer our audience in order to hopefully build a better appreciation for. I don't think it's just merely an expose. I don't. That would be too embedded in my own consciousness about it.
Right.
Too protective of an industry that has loosened the grip. This just exposes everything. That's not exactly it. There are people that learn from podcasts. There are people that learn an appreciation for the art form that we do. And in this modern communication, it's going to happen anyway.
Right.
If you were to storm off because we're exposing the business right now, someone else will be in that chair next week, and the train will just move on without us.
Yeah.
So we have to be accepting of it, whether we like it or not, and just have to try to find a way to exploit that platform, like social media. When the first time social media came out, it's like, well, I don't want to put pictures of my children on there. I don't want to put pictures of my wife or my husband on there. I don't want to talk about I want to stay in character. So stay in character.
Yeah.
Right.
So make your social media stay in character. But it's a platform, and it's out there, and it's there for you to not only appease the audience that you have, but expand from that base. So if you learn how to exploit it, you can get someone new interested in you, your character,
Right.
your matches, your story, etc.
Yeah.
And I think on some level, it gives people just an insider look at what people, that we are humans, that we are people that go through things, and that there are people that, may have had a death in the family and go out and work, or may have had. And I think that gives a new level of respect in some ways as well for them to see that, we have to perform, whether you feel like performing that night or not. So I do like that aspect of it.
Yeah, and also it's the platform.
Yeah.
It's the platform. Now today it's micro dramas and it's streaming. And can you imagine? So it's like if anybody watches the movie Boogie Nights, Boogie Nights is so prophetic in the changing of an industry, moving on to something else, and everybody that goes along with it is going to profit, and those who don't become the dinosaurs.
Right.
And this is a new platform. Can you imagine an actor or an actress today or a director saying, my movies are only shown in movie theaters? Really? So Paramount Plus doesn't exist, Netflix doesn't exist, Peacock doesn't exist. All these YouTube is the largest platform in the world today. If you shoot a movie on a reasonable budget and you release it on YouTube, you can make a very decent profit and build a reputation. All the hot young directors this year come off of doing YouTube shorts, YouTube verticals, or YouTube movies. All of them. all the hot young directors today. It's a new platform, and therefore it's a new method of storytelling. No matter what we're doing here, this is storytelling.
Sure.
It's just a different way than we're used to.
Right.
But then again, I mean, I'm sure you remember the days when when Lou Thez or one of the older guys from a previous generation would come and see. Just look at the way Harley used to look at where the product had evolved into.
Yeah. For that, yeah.
And Harley would just look, and what are you doing out there? Well, Harley, this and the audience really likes when I do that. Good for them. It's like, oh, okay. Just the way that, so you doing this gives you not only access to a whole new audience today, but gives that audience access to you and your history and your stories and your storylines. So it not only promotes your body of work, it's from Dead Man to American Badass to now it's Mark. Right. And Mark and Michelle. And here's our form of communication. Here's your distribution. Here's your platform.
Right. Well, I still don't like it.
I'm with you, but I want to be on.
You want to be on the train.
I want to be on that train, and I want to be one of the conductors.
Because
it will leave without me.
Yeah. I think I want to be on the train. I just don't think I want to go all the way to the end.
You're here for the journey.
I'm here for a little bit of the journey. Yeah, my journey. Yeah, I mean, as our journey. No,
we're a lot closer to the destination than we are from the origin.
We're a lot closer to. Yes, we are much closer.
1965.
Wow. Yeah.
Full circle.
Yeah, it is a full circle moment, man. Hey, I know you got things to do. I just want to thank you for making time for us. This has been fun for me. So much history, and just I love listening to you talk about the wrestling business, because again, that passion comes out, and I hope you evolve into that next role, and the next guy comes along. Do you have people in? I mean, I won't pin you down on a name, but do you have people in your mind that you think might? Hang on.
I was thinking, have this guy in mind.
Yeah.
For one more match.
Oh, good.
All
Lord.
right, folks. Hey. This podcast was brought to you. Bro, I didn't have one more match on my last match. I got new parts. I'm doing all right, man.
Oh, well.
Yeah, no, that is.
There you go.
You even did that in Vince's voice. God damn, you look good. The money. You got one more. Damn it. Man up. Come on. Think about the boys.
Oh,
right?
My God.
Paul, thank you, man. I really appreciate you making time for us.
Yes, thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you. Because no matter what you're doing, I swear you're the most entertaining persona on TV. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Doesn't matter Raw, SmackDown, whatever PLE, whether you're on the sneaker show, whatever that was called.
Well, yeah.
Wait.
Sorry. Go
ahead.
The sneaker show. What did you end up getting, man? Like, I've never seen you in anything but leather dress shoes.
Yes,
like,
sir.
you get you some Jordans. What'd you get?
Wait, look, I saw the clip. He didn't get him some shoes because, well, you may not know this, but we have two things in common because I saw it on the show.
What?
We don't wear sneakers and we don't wear draws. He said.
Do we need to tell people that you don't
I'm
wear?
just saying. He said, did you not say that?
This is, hey.
See, this is why.
At this moment, I respectfully invoke my Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination.
She
He said,
brought
I don't wear
it up, man.
sneakers and I
She
don't wear
brought it up.
underwear. And I was like, see, I knew I liked this man. Always entertaining.
You were the guy left in the business that can sell ice to an Eskimo.
Oh, there you go.
That's the biggest compliment that I can give you.
Thank you very much.